Hey, hope you're well. In this one, I'm making a small wooden decoration in the shape of a Christmas tree that's quick and easy to do, looks great, and crucially stores flat. And all you need is a sheet of plywood about the size of an A4 piece of paper. I've cut that in half to make two A5 sheets. I've run it through the table saw twice to make sure that they're the same size. And I've taped them together with a couple of strips of double-sided tape. Making sure to keep the edges flush, and I've marked the centers by joining the two diagonals. Now, when I first made a test one of these, I just drew the shape out on a piece of paper. I cut that out and drew around it as a template and flipped it over to make both sides. But I've drawn up a template for this one, and I'll add a link in the description for you to download this if you fancy having a go. The template has a center marking, and I can use an awl to pin the paper through this to the center we just marked on the plywood. Make sure it's all squared up, and then add another awl at the tip of the tree to hold it in place while I add a couple of strips of masking tape. I'm fixing this down with a low-tack temporary spray glue as it doesn't leave a residue on the workpiece, first on the bottom half and then on the top. So we need to cut a slot for the two halves for the decoration to kind of fit together. And this needs to be the same width as the material thickness, a Goldilocks fit just right. I'm using 6mm birch ply, and this has 5 core layers. So I'm just lining up the center layer with a center line on the template and marking the thickness at each end. Then squaring this up, finding the center and drilling a 5mm hole all the way through the 2 pieces of plywood. That's a 5mm hole just to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. Over at the bandsaw now, and I can make the first cut just inside the line all the way down to the hole we just drilled. And then make the second cut again just inside the line. Remove the waste and I'll clean up the bottom of the cut, then I can check the fit. It is a little too tight, so back at the bandsaw, I can use the blade as a file, pulling the workpiece back towards me at a slight angle and shaving a tiny amount off each side of the cut. I'll do this as many times as I need, checking each time until I get a really nice snug fit. With a slot cut, I can prise the 2 halves apart, flipping one of them over and sticking them back together again, adding and replacing the double-sided tape as needed. I'm also applying a bit of pressure with a clamp as I don't want this peeling apart when it's on the bandsaw. Now, I've got a 1/2-inch blade fitted to the bandsaw, and to be honest, it's too big really to make these curves comfortably, but I've no idea where the thinner blades are, assuming they've survived the clear out at all. So I'll carry on with what I've got and just accept that the curves could be a little bit better. By the way, on my template, there are drilling points marked in the tight corners. So if you had a thinner blade or were using a jigsaw, you could make the turns more easily. But there's not much point with this blade, so I'm just going to press on and mangle my way through it as best I can. And that's not actually too terrible. The tricky part was around the tree trunk, so I'll just clean that up with a chisel. And then I can give it all a bit of a rub down with some P120 abrasive. 'Check the fit for my own peace of mind, and then apply a finish. This is my go-to Conover wax from Leo. It's single-handedly made. "20 minutes later, and I can buff that up and call it done." So there you go, a super simple little tree-shaped decoration made entirely out of birch ply, perfect for a shelf or mantelpiece, or you could scale it up, of course, to make it bigger. And of course, you can make it out of whatever material you have. Pine would probably be 100% authentic, but any thin hardwood stock would look good, I think, or if you stick to birch ply, you'd always apply a stain on it as well, of course. You can buy A4 packs of birch ply off Amazon, by the way. It's a fairly expensive way to buy it, but nothing like as expensive as buying a full sheet. And I've done that before now, as it's especially useful if you need a small amount of, say, very thin ply stock. But I'm going to call this one done for now. Thanks so much for taking a look. As always, don't forget to leave a comment and hit subscribe. I'm taking a break in January, so whatever you do, wherever you are and whoever you're with, enjoy the festive fortnight, and I'll see you all again very soon. All right, take care.